After unveiling my main fursona and persona for the channel, I felt like it's time to talk about my webcomic that's been on hiatus since 2023. For those who have no idea what I'm referring to, The Dawn of Gales is my webcomic that I posted back in January of 2020, with scattered chapters for each year after, up until it went on hiatus. I had a creative block around 2023 and 2024 that made me feel like I needed a break from the comic, which turned out to be much longer than I initially planned, or hoped for. I was too attached to the old drafts, and honestly, having my main fursona also be a character, Vixie has gone through so many different style changes that I needed to take that time to do studies and plan properly, because back around 2020 all the way up to 2023, I wasn't great with writing. The panels were so complicated when I didn't understand how the vertical format could work for me, and every artist does their webcomic differently as far as colors, design, techniques, the tools that they used, especially when I switched from Procreate to Clip Studio in 2025 to see if that's what was causing problems for me where I was struggling. I didn't practice backgrounds or props or anything that was needed for a comic, and I needed to take this break. It was absolutely worth it despite the struggles that came with it, and the decision was mainly because I knew that if I didn't do these studies and learn what I actually wanted to do for a comic for The Dawn of Gales, it was never going to be released as a comic, and it might as well just be me reading out a story similar to what happened to Louvel. Even though I initially designed Vixie back in 2017 as a fursona, I got very quickly detached around 2021 when I realized that I saw her much more as a character with the traits that I had given, and everything that fit for the story, she fit perfectly for it. And I grew attached to different designs when I started experimenting on a shape-shifting humanoid and fursona design that was different, which has now become the Stencil Fox mascot that you see on screen. It was so much easier for me to work on sprites at the time because I was so used to drawing her. I could draw Vixie in multiple different styles, but that was one of the other issues, was that because I was doing animation memes, I was using her as talk sprites, I was making these test concept illustrations for art challenges and for stuff that was going to be canon to my comic, it made things double the work, with just more pressure on me to make it and try and make it obvious what's for the comic and what was for a YouTube fursona. The countless style changes meant that consistency had left the building back in 2020, and I spent most of 2025 going through the old notes so that I could scrap what didn't feel right and what wasn't needed anymore, especially when it came to some of the characters' names. Most of the characters' names started with the letter D, so I had Dax, Dean, Diesel, all these characters that needed to have some of their names changed, completely remove them. But in doing this, that means that I would need to scrap everything. So what I did was I started practicing comics. I did a bunch of fan art comics and a bunch of test comic panels to see what could work, because I didn't want to end up crashing and burning like I did with the initial release of this comic. And I was originally going to make this a much shorter story. It was only supposed to be 2 parts with a handful of chapters, but after I started to revise it around 2023, I wound up with 4 acts and multiple chapters, which needed a longer script and storyboards, which 3 years I had rewritten all of that in 3 days. 11,000 words for all 10 chapters. And it was mainly because of everything that was going on from 2020 all the way up to 2023. I just did not have the means to do this comic, but I had forced myself to do it because at the time I had heard so many people say that if you don't get your comic out now, it's never going to see the light of day, or somebody else might do the idea before you do, so you've got to get your story out there first. And all of this was just making me so stressed. I'm happy to say that 2026 is the year that I am going to erase all of the old stuff for The Dawn of Gales and bring this comic off of hiatus. I want this webtoon that's been on there since 2020 and been on hiatus for more than 3 years to finally come off of hiatus. I want to do this properly, though, because of what I have learned as a self-taught digital artist doing all of this on my own from start to finish. The pacing that I have for it behind the scenes will be me doing bulk scripts. I already know that within 3 days of me locking in, I can do 10 chapters, which that is me working at my best. I need to know what I work at my worst or my lowest point, because that would be a mix of the average, because I may not have time, which I've learned this the hard way multiple times over the past couple of years, that will be the case. But I want to finish all 10 of those chapters that I've scripted by redrawing them in the updated style using Clip Studio instead of Procreate, so that I can get all the panels in the way that I want to. Now, I do not know for certain if each of the pages that I have, which would be a single Webtoons page, will be in such a long scroll format, or if it'll be shortened, because I've seen some people, they post Webtoons one page at a time, and that's great, but for my story, it's so long for the chapters that I need it to be much longer. However, the giant white spaces between each of my panels with the characters, for me, feels frustrating because I don't want to do such an infinitely long scroll that it takes away from the reader's enjoyment. So as I work on that, I will figure out the style of how I actually want to make this comic work. As I make all 10 of those chapters all over again, the next 3 to 5 chapters will be scripted and finalized before I make that official post by deleting all 10 of the old episodes and re-uploading all 10 of the new ones as a reboot to the comic. I really don't want to make the same mistakes. When I did my initial research, it was doomed to fail from the start with what I thought I could do. It was kind of like I did skimming on here's how to webcomic and here's how to do writing, and just kind of went in blind and ended up just crashing and burning on the other side of it. I fixed this for 2025 by checking out creators like the Starfish Face, 4-Leaf Island, and Ginger Ninja OWO, and taking advice from multiple videos about projects, comics, and writing, and all of the studies that I had done had made me go from overwhelmed and doubting myself to making decision paralysis disappear so that I could be more productive and happy with these projects, especially for making a webcomic that it is possible. It was just the way that I went about it is drastically different to how I want to do it now. I want to love doing these projects, and I feel like I can finally do that again, especially with a refresh of the year, because when I started drawing Vixie again, for me, it felt like opening up an old save file to a game that you never beat because you got stuck on one difficult boss battle where you lacked patience and understanding, and having sucked all the joy out of it. And now I have a choice. I can pick up where I left off, but I don't remember how I had done it before. I've got the characters, the scripts, and everything that I used to have still available. The old art is there. I could just redraw it like a draw this again, but that wasn't going to work, so my decision was made more final after I rewrote all 10 of those chapters and re-scripted it, and am getting ready to redraw all of those panels. I'm hitting the big reset button on the Dawn of Gales because at this point, there's not much else that I can do. It either stays abandoned and unfinished, or I scrap it and start all over again. And that's where 2026 starts off, with all the drawings and concepts that I will be sharing to you guys. I will also be posting a lot of the behind the scenes for Patreon members first, so that way when I do catch up on all 10 chapters, before I even make the announcement post of the date that it will be off of hiatus, and then the following dates for the schedule, be it every other week posting, or every week I'll make a post, that is a decision for future me, whether it be a couple months from now, or maybe closer to halfway through the year during the summer. It depends on how much time it's taking me this time around to go from scripting to the final process of each of the chapters. And this time I'm making a batch of chapters ahead of time to give me some wiggle room, because I genuinely want to enjoy this. Everyone approaches comic making and art differently, and my choice to reset is something that I am hard set in, locked in, because even though the old comic will just be a fuzzy memory a few months from now, I want to be able to enjoy bringing these characters and this comic to life once more, the same as how I finally feel a connection that is much stronger to my persona and persona for the channel after I updated the design to fit more in the theme of Stencil Fox. I would also like to thank all of you who have been here since the get-go, be it 2020 or all the way back in 2018 when I posted my silly little videos of my characters trying to introduce them to the world with absolutely no lore other than their reference sheets and little tidbits of animation memes just for the fun of it. I am feeling like a completely different person with a huge refresh, where I feel like all of my videos from 2025 onward are going to be the new Stencil Fox, and everything before that was just the building blocks that led me to where I am now, and I hope that you'll continue to join me on my art journey, both as newcomers and old returning subscribers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to join the Subscribler Squad to never miss an upload. While you wait for the next upload, check out some of the playlists. If you'd like to see your fan artwork featured in the Subscribers gallery, tag me in it, as I love getting to see what you guys can create and sharing it to others on the channel. My card link is below, and if you'd like to further support this channel with exclusive Patreon rewards, Fennec Foxes for £2 a month gets you access to all of my work-in-progress sketches. Arctic Foxes for £5 a month gets you access to exclusive Patreon-only content, art videos, and comic pages early. Red Foxes for £10 a month gets your name read out at the end of the videos, just like this. Special thank you to Frankie Jr. 13. Stay possum, subscribers.